say. And Christy and I didn't know all the words, so we tried to make it not fun. Watermelon, watermelon, watermelon. God knows our heart, so it's fine. So Christy and I are going to read her obituary. Well, I might not be able to, but Christy will. I just want to say,
Bless the Lord.
I thought it was going to be the strong one. I'm sorry, Angela. It made me think when Kara was talking that when I joined the military 18 years ago, I was telling Grandpa this last night. I just feel like Grandma's house was always like my stability. Like her address is still like on all my paperwork for the military. So it's nice to, even when I came home and stayed with Grandpa last night, to always, even once I left, to have that familiar face with Grandpa being there and just feeling Grandma there. So I appreciate that, and I always cherish those memories. I really was Grandma's favorite. I have to say that because a couple months ago, I was the first, I think. But a couple months ago when I came home to, when Grandma was in the hospital and I stayed overnight with her in the hospital, I promised you all, she said that out loud. She said, Keely, you are my favorite. And I could have got my phone to record it so we could have played it here, but I just had to say that. But you would say thank you. Sorry.
Well, as the favorite, this is now all on you. As her favorite, honor her.
She would have enjoyed I said that. Yeah. Okay. Bertha Phillips, age 75 of Lebanon, passed away Saturday, January 4th, 2020, at Hospice of Butler in Warren County. She was born to Laura Peters and Leonard Peters on 25 June 1944 in Winnetka, Kentucky. Bertha met Dennis at God's Pentecostal Church and married at the age of 18. And Grandpa last night shared some more of that story that you'll have to ask him about. There's a little more to that. They had just celebrated their 57th wedding anniversary in November. They lived in Wilmington when they were first married, and their last house was in Lebanon. When the kids were born, she didn't work outside the home. They kept her pretty busy. She was involved in the local PTO, scouts, etc. She would help with class parties, and her friends were so creative. For years, she would collect the money at the local skating rink for sponsored PTO events. And for years, she cleaned Mr. Bustle's house. They always talked about how they would be mourners at each other's funeral, so they would have at least one mourner present. For 30 years, she worked for Main Auto Parts CarQuest in Lebanon and Cincinnati. She delivered parts, waited counter, and developed a stellar talent mixing car paint. At the local body shops, Bertha was the one you wanted mixing your paint. They would only request her. She later retired from CDS in Lebanon. She attended services at God's Pentecostal Church in Waynesville. Pastor Robert Hughes has literally been asked for 40 years to speak at Grandma's funeral, and in the event he might not be unavailable, she wanted him to record it. Like everything, she had to make sure she got it covered. She used to teach Sunday school and help with Vacation Bible School. She knew her favorite songs at church, and she would request them every service, and she loved to hear Karen Boggs sing. Also, the songs had to be fast. She did not like slow songs. She used to sing the songs on her way home from church. Bertha met Jesus years ago. In recent months, she would ask others to pray for her when they visited, or she would call and ask for prayer. And then pray the sinner's prayer again. She wanted to make sure she had it covered. If currently you have unforgiveness towards yourself or others, Grandma would tell you to let it go. Her heart's desire was for everyone to love Jesus and someday meet him and her in heaven. She would say, you don't have to be perfect. None of us are, only him. The greatest gift to honor Grandma would be to get things right with Jesus and someday join her there in heaven.
Talk really loud. So, when Grandma's children were younger, they used to go camping quite often. She loved to go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and look forward to stopping by the Old Mill Restaurant, the Apple Barn, and hear the Elvis impersonators. She loved country music, especially Rocky Top. She would ask her Amazon Echo to play it for her. She tried to go hear Jesse and Richard Lynch sing when she could. They were her brother's niece and nephew. Bertha loved to shop. loved. Her favorite and sometimes only pastime was shopping. Especially if she could find a deal. She was all about the deals, and the best part to her was the hunt. Those 90% coveted items, 90% off coveted items are at her house currently, not because she needed them, but because they were 90% off. Don't even ask how much she liked Kohl's Cash because she loved it, which would tell you how much she spent shopping because she had so much Kohl's Cash to spend. The family greatly enjoyed going to Grandma's basement and her garage. Her house was like a wonderful store. If the family could talk Grandma into it, we would take our cool finds from her house. This Christmas, Grandma felt like she didn't have money to buy everyone gifts. So her resolve was that everyone could go to the garage, take out their gifts, and then take it home. The family said it was like having kids in a candy store. They loved it. Grandma was a collector of anything and everything. She liked to collect NASCARs, Hot Wheels, Beanie Babies, cherished teddies, dolls, cards, and much more. Whatever the latest collection was, it was game on. And if she found out you collected something, then she would buy everything that she saw in it and give it to you. Grandpa was her driver everywhere she went. Kmart, Walmart, and the flea market, near and far. She would stop at every single one at every exit. She knew where all the best deals were, and Grandpa never complained. Maybe Grandpa was motivated by all this collecting because it gave him the opportunity to become a good woodworker by building all the things for her to store her collectibles in. Grandma was a very caring and a very giving individual. If you liked a sweater that she had on, she would just give it to you. Many times she would go out and purchase items to then donate. She was known for her habit of never being able to buy just one of anything. If it had been purchased, it was purchased in multiple colors, styles, and themes. She loved pink and anything and everything pink, which is why she had this planned way in advance, so she had her pink coffin. In her free time, Grandma would visit people, check in on them, and love to talk to them about what was going on. She was definitely a friendly lady that few could keep up with. She was always on the go. When she walked into a room, she would light it up. Some called her daughter, friend, best friend, mother, grandma, great-grandma, Bertha, Bert, and known to Grandpa as Precious. Whatever you called her, you knew she was a very special person. She will also be remembered for being the favorite aunt. I heard many say that they were her favorite child or grandchild. Everyone loved her because she was so much fun. She was always the life of the party. Her passion and legacy was her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. In these later years, we started to notice a change in Grandma and how she was walking around in her health. A combination of her Parkinson's, neuropathy, dementia, and later sundown syndrome. Yet in it all, that she continued on as she always had. Just because she had health issues, it was not going to deter her living. She was still the life of the party.
Grandma was preceded in death by her son, John David Phillips, her grandson, Zachary Phillips, her parents, 3 brothers, Sterling, Raleigh, and Ed Peters, and 4 sisters, Jean Velasquez, Nan Hamill, Dora Cox, and Sherry Ann Peters. She is survived by her devoted husband of 57 years, Grandpa. Her 3 daughters, Mom, her husband Don Perkins of Middletown, Denise and Steve Kirkland of Morrow, Angela Johnson of Lebanon, her 6 grandchildren, myself, my husband Nick Coffin of Illinois, Christy and Aaron Weber of Dayton, Adam and Megan of Hamilton, Morgan Sellers of Morrow, Faith Johnson of Lebanon, Tristan Johnson of Lebanon, and 8 great-grandchildren. Emilia Coffin, Miles Stork, Jackson Hamilton, Jace Coffin, Dakota Lawson, Justice Coffin, Corwin Weber, and Connor Weber. 1 brother, Bill Peters, and 1 sister, Kate Mayberry, and 2 sisters-in-law, Frances and Maxine Peters of Dayton. She also leaves behind several in-laws and many nieces and nephews. And you all already know this, but she loved it. Family was everything to her. Christy and I just wanted to say thank you from the immediate family of everybody that was here. We kind of joked about it because actually Grandpa and I did that. Grandma thought no one would come to her funeral, and I guess we proved her wrong. Because we know everybody in here at least knew her and loved her just as much as we did. So I just want to say thank you for everybody being here to support us. Because it's a very hard time, and we won't be the same without her. I'm gonna miss her so much. Sorry. So just thank you for attending and supporting our family.